Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patricia Ceballos. I'm Customer Success Manager of Spain and Portugal. And today we are going to see the session 2 of this cycle of test of ClinicalKey updating program. And today we are going to see how to prepare your tests with ClinicalKey. In the previous session, we saw how to use ClinicalKey, and we saw that we have different moments where ClinicalKey can help us. And of course, we have all this information related thesis, and some students that are doing their thesis not only for undergraduate, also for postgraduate. And then when they begin their process as a researcher, they are writing, or you are writing a paper for a journal. Maybe you are doing a intensive research related to many things, right? And maybe you don't know, or you were thinking about where you can have more information about your research, your thesis, and you have the possibility of use ClinicalKey to have more information, to use it, and have all these qualities of ClinicalKey also in your research, in this case, in your thesis. Before beginning, I want to share information with you that I take from Scopus. You know, Scopus is a database that we have of Elsevier, is of the site of research. And I obtained this information yesterday at night. I have this information to be updated with the documents by country in where are the most publications around the world. This is the top 15 of publications since January 2018 to December 2022, to have all the years complete. And we have 5,406,695 articles related to medical, health sciences. Okay, so you can see that United States, China, United Kingdom are the top 3. And we have also from Europe, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Netherlands, and Switzerland included. So, let's continue with the what we are going to see today. Well, first of all, we have this question: the students and everybody that it's going to write a thesis or going to write an article ask, what is a thesis? No, a thesis is a long essay or dissertation involving personal research written by the candidate for a university degree. This information I took it from ClinicalKey, from this article that it's how to write a scientific thesis. We have all this information that later I am going to share with you, also where we are going to have this presentation too, so you can go directly to that article inside ClinicalKey. This thesis is a requisite for pre- and postgraduate courses. Sometimes students feel overwhelmed, or they don't want to do this kind of investigation research. No, but it's important for them to have this format of writing a scientific thesis, because they will have this and as an structure that can help them also later on when they need to read a scientific paper. So this structure, it's based in introduction, methods, results, and discussion. I also have another paper, another document that can help, that it's how to write and publish an original research article that we have also in a ClinicalKey, with tips to consider while writing a paper, no? To have some study design, some conclusions with objectives, of course, and include these primary and secondary outcomes and measure all this information. As said, this information also is included in ClinicalKey. Later, we are going to see how we can go and search for some of these kind of papers, some journals and books that we have in ClinicalKey related with writing a paper, writing a thesis, with all these kind of results. In the previous session, we talked about the different moments that we are going to use ClinicalKey, and that can be helpful for us. For clinical research, in this case, clinical research, writing an article, writing a thesis, developing protocols for clinical trials, ClinicalKey will help us also. So let's go to ClinicalKey. This morning we saw how to register, so I am going to go directly to my user of ClinicalKey. Oops, it says something that it's verifying access. So sometimes the connections, informatics get us crazy. Well, I am now in my user. I get into my user with my email and password. If you don't know how to access ClinicalKey or how to create an account of ClinicalKey at the end of this session, I am going to tell you how to register and show you some videos where are the instructions to how to register to ClinicalKey. So let's pretend that we have our thesis, where el tema, I am, the idea of the thesis that we are going to do. If you have any question you want to share with me, any idea, you can do it directly through the chat or the Q&A. I have an example related. One idea that can be helpful only for an example. Okay, so remember that in ClinicalKey you can do a search by conditions, treatment, drugs, books, journals, and so on. So in this case, I am going to use something related to medication for a treatment of a nephrology illness. And in this case, it will be related to tolvaptan. And what I am going to put, it's polycystic, or you can put it directly as PKD, that is polycystic kidney disease. Okay, so I am going to see the relation between tolvaptan and PKD and polykidney kidney disease in all of types of content inside ClinicalKey, because I am going to do my research, in this case, my thesis related to this information. So I am taking this information from here. So I did the search, and I have all the results in this case that are 2027 results in this with this information. So in this case, we have different results and different filters. And in this case, If we want to have more information about the PKD disease, that is polycystic kidney disease, we can go directly into the clinical overview. In this clinical overview, o resumen de la enfermedad, we can have all the information related to this disease, and also it's include some information related to the treatment with tolvaptan. And of course, the person that is doing this research need to read all this information from here, so they will have all the evidence from here. What we can do is to begin to save this content in my profile of ClinicalKey, and I can do it from the inside of a document. In this case, this is a clinical overview that you can see that it's not format with a PDF, but if I want a PDF, I can print it as a PDF, or in this case, I am going to save this content because I want it to review it later. So from the beginning, what I am going to do is to create a tag that it's like a folder with the name of what I am going to save. No, it's I am going to create a new tag that I am going to call it tolvaptan and a PKD, and I am going to put it for Portugal in this case. And I am going to add it to my profile. What I am going to do is going back again to the results, and I have, for example, patient education information related to tolvaptan. So if I want to see what is the information that it's given to the patients, to have all this information also to my my research, I can also include this. We have this information not only in English, we have it in different languages, including Portuguese, that I can save in my profile. In this case, we are not going to go directly to see if the content is okay or not. We are going to save it as I am doing right now. And then we are going to go to another kind of content. What I am doing right now, it's to add this patient education about this medication included into my tolvaptan and PKD PT that I just create to the tag, and I am going to go back to the results. As you can see, we have many different type of content related to this disease, and of course to the disease plus the medication. We have a clinical trial, for example, in the efficacy and safety study of tolvaptan on patients of this disease. In this case, the status is active, no regretting. What we have in here in ClinicalKey are clinical trials also included in ClinicalKey, where we are going to have not only all the purpose, eligibility in the stage that it's right now, no, the profile. Also, we have this link to go directly to the record of this clinical trial in clinicaltrials.gov, sorry. So you can have all the information related to this research, to this clinical trial, and if you want to put in contact with someone related to this clinical trial, you can have all this information from here also. So from ClinicalKey, you can go outside ClinicalKey and see this information also related to clinical trials. I am going back to results because what I am going to also see this article, for example, if you want to be updated with this, you have this article, but it's not only also online. You can download this article directly and have it in your computer, in your mobile. Okay. So going back again, later I am going to save more and I am going to show you this information. We have a chapter where we have more information related to this illness and the intake of water. Maybe this is important because this medication is related also with the drink of too much water. So maybe it's the lifestyle that you will have. You have this related to the tolvaptan intake. Here it is. So you have all, of course, all this chapter. You can go to the top of the chapter and not only seeing the PDF online, you can also download the PDF that in this case is 56 pages that you can download. But I want you to remind, well, here it's not, but when you download a PDF, the ClinicalKey will remind you that we have not a limit, but you need to be sure that you want to download all this data in your profile, in your in your mobile. Okay, because yeah, it's allowed to download it, but it's also you can save this information as we were saving, and you can see it again, and you don't need to download this information. It's only a good thing to remind everyone that we have, when we download something in ClinicalKey, it will says who is downloaded this information. Okay, so it's important also to remind this information at the time that you are downloading the PDF. I am going to go back to results, as I found this information very helpful for the thesis that I am going to prepare, that I am preparing. I am going to save also this information in my profile of ClinicalKey. Do you remember that tag that I already created before? I am going to add this information here in tolvaptan and PKD in Portugal. I save it, and now we are going to see where I have all this information, that it's included in my Conteúdo Salvo. And from Conteúdo Salvo, if, for example, I have a supervisor of the thesis that I am doing, and I want to share this information with him or she, I can do this from ClinicalKey. It's very easy. We need to go only to the tag. So clicking on the tag, I am clicking on all the content that I already saved, and from here I select, and then I can send it by email. It's not necessary to send all the PDF, only sending the links directly to all the chapters, all the information that I already have, and put the different emails separate by comma or semicolon. I can send this information and they can open it on the hospital, if they have already a user and they apply for the remote access, they can access outside their institution also, okay? So they don't need to have a profile of ClinicalKey, but at least they need to have access to ClinicalKey to see all the content that I am sharing with them. If you have any question, please, you can do this by the chat in English, in Spanish, or Portuguese. I can understand. I only speak Spanish and English, but I can understand the writing if you write in Portuguese and you have any other question. Okay, so going back to the results, another thing that it's very important at the other when we are doing a thesis or when we are writing a scientific paper, for example, in some cases we find some schemes or some images that can be helpful for our research. So in this case, I am going to look for information related to this illness, in this case, to PKD. And what I am going to do is to filter for multimedia, and I am going to do the search. All the images that we have in ClinicalKey are easy and it made to easy to be shared and to be used into PowerPoint format, where we can download all the images and the references and copyright to use, and they come prepared to use and share it in our documents. So in this case, what we are going to use are only images. So I am going to turn off the videos. And from here, what I am going to see, it's each of the images. If it's important for me, for example, I can see the image. Also, I can read the information related to this image. That's the good thing inside ClinicalKey, that you can also read the article, download it if it's necessary, and we can use it in our document. So I am going back again to multimedia. I am going to show you how we can use these images on our documents. So I have the images. Let's pretend that the images that I am going to select right now are the images that I am going to use on my document. Okay, so I select 4. Previous, we save content. Right now we are going to save images. For saving images, after selecting, I need to go to this screen icon, and then let's create in here PKD plus tolbaptan PT, and I am creating this presentation. It doesn't matter if I don't have all the images, or after these days, for example, I can add more images. I can add every time I need more images to the presentation that I already create. This presentation is going to be saved on my profile in Apresentações, and inside this Apresentações, I have the last that I just create with PKD plus tolbaptan PT. And the second step that I need to do after saving, it's going here inside and export. This presentation that I am exporting is a PowerPoint presentation that it's going to be saved on my computer in this case, and I am going to open, and each of the images that I just saved are going to be each one in each of the slides. The information that I have, it's the image, Also, we have the reference, the photo, the information of the photo, and the copyright. That information of the photo is not necessary at the time that I am doing this information, that I am going to take this image, but the mandatory thing is to take the image always with the reference and the copyright. Okay, it's mandatory. So I can copy the image and take it to my presentation. If I want to begin my presentation from here, I can change the design. It's not mandatory to use ClinicalKey, neither Elsevier logo. We can do the presentation as we need it. We can put the image a little bit. We can put a number in that. And then at the end, in the index, we can put the reference of the images. Okay, so in which cases we can use these images? We can use without any limit inside the institution that it's related to ClinicalKey, the institution that subscribes ClinicalKey inside without any issue. If you want to use the images for clinical cases, or if you want to use the image for doing a class, if you are a professor of a university, you can use it. It's not a problem. If it's for your thesis and it will be inside the institution, it's not a problem. You can use it in that way. If you are a researcher and if you want to use this image for an article of a journal, or if you are going to a congress and you want to use this image in your presentation, and this presentation will be online, in this case, what you are going to do is to go to and ask for permission. This permission can be asked since from ClinicalKey. So in this case, I am going to close and I am going back to ClinicalKey, to the images. Let's pretend, well, this image, that is the one that I want to put in my presentation, my thesis, or my article. And then what I am going to do is to go to the font. In this case, as before, we can see all the article, all the chapter. And from here, we go directly to the image and we can go up. And from here, we have the journal. And from here, we have also the way of obtener derechos e conteúdo. And from this link, we are going to go directly to this platform where we are going to ask to read the right links to use it. This is in the case that we are going, for example, to use it in a journal or of an article that I am writing. And from here, what you need to do is to complete all the questions that you have in here. And at the end, it will tell you if you need to pay something or if it's for free. Also, sometimes it's not this kind of format. It's email. So I recommend to send an email to that email to ask for permission. But with this permission, you can use this image outside your institution. Okay. So from here, it's the way that you can go through ClinicalKey. Another thing that it's very important when you are doing a research, when you are writing an article or writing your thesis, you need to have the references for an article, for example. You know that in Elsevier, we have many different kind of platforms, and one of them It's for free, and it's called Mendeley, and it's used for research. So if you have your profile of ClinicalKey, or you have your profile of Mendeley, you can use the same user for all the platforms of Elsevier, and you can use and download the plugin of Mendeley and put it in your navigator. In this case, in my Google Chrome, I include this Mendeley Web Importer. And from here, what I can do inside an article is to have all the references in my Mendeley. So the only thing that I am doing is click on this Mendeley plugin, and it will charge all the references and put it, whoops, in my profile. Let's update it. Something went wrong. And from here, let's go back again. I am going to click on here. Yeah, and now it works. So you need to be in your profile. In this case, I am in my profile of ClinicalKey and Mendeley. And from here, I can select them all, and I can add it to my Mendeley. So I can decide where in the collections or what I have inside my Mendeley. I can save it. I am going to add them to my Mendeley that I have in here, Mendeley folder. So I have all these references updated in my profile. I can see them all from my library, or if you have the desktop version of Mendeley, you can see them from there. Okay, it's taking a little bit longer than I want, but I am going to my library of this reference manager of Mendeley, and it will show you all that articles that I just put as a reference. I don't know why it's taking longer. Maybe it's my connection. Sorry if it's taking longer than I want. Well, it's my connection. Here it's not. So in here it's synchronizing and syncing, and all will appear in here. Well, it will take a little bit maybe. So, well, in here, I have the ones that I did in the morning, and now they are loading. Well, I am going to go back in here. I don't know if you have any question about this information and how it can manage from Mendeley also. I'm going to refresh. Well, going back to, this is the way that we can search for information related to our thesis, our article from ClinicalKey. We can go directly to some of the information. If we want, for example, to have information directly of tolvaptan, we can go to drugs information, and we are going to have the monograph of this drug with all the information related to this medication. Okay, this is also one thing that it's very useful for you to go from the search, or then you can go navigating from, for example, calculators that you will have, or the information in the case that you need a clinical guideline. You have all the guidelines from here by specialty and also by organization. We have included in ClinicalKey the NICE guidelines. They are in organization. You click on N and then more organizations, and in here you will have also these NICE guidelines inside ClinicalKey. Okay, so You will have all this information also from here. The journals, if you are researching journals, in this case about nephrology or in this case are nephrology or urology, no? Nephrology for example, in here, you can go directly to see all the ones that are related, and not only see them, you can also subscribe to the following numbers so you can receive them on your email that it's related to your profile of ClinicalKey. We have all the volumes and issues since 2007, in this case, articles in press that you can look for this information related also in your ClinicalKey. Well, I don't know if you have any question. I am going back to the presentation, to the PowerPoint presentation, because I have more information. Oops, I didn't translate this. This is the useful content inside ClinicalKey for any thesis or research that we have. We have inside ClinicalKey doing this simple search that it's serie WASP. Serie WASP. We are going to see results of articles that write a scientific paper, that it's WASP, relative information, relative how to write a scientific paper with many articles inside ClinicalKey that you can use directly from here. Another thing that we have inside, we have this essential concept in clinical research. If we go directly to this book, we have all this book related to research that you have inside also of ClinicalKey that can help you also in your researchers, your research. And finally, we have this Jekyll epidemiology, biostatic preventive medicine, and public health, where we have this book with also information of research. We have information of concepts and methods of preventing, and information related also with research. Okay, so from here, from ClinicalKey, as you can see, we have plenty of information, and that can help you where you are searching for information of for your research. Also, we have these tools for change your thesis into an article. We have this research academy. This is a page, open page of Elsevier, where you have information about research, how to research, funding. We have a lot of information and courses inside that you can take advantage of this. Of course, we have the information related the journal finder, and you can search about journals inside Elsevier. And finally, we were working with our colleague Jimena Alvira, that it's a doctor, in this health research development program, where she did some classes and master classes about research, clinical research. So we have all the videos of the program inside, and you can see all the ones that we did last year inside this page that can be useful for you and for your users also, and your colleagues, of course. So this is the information that I wanted to to share with you all the program of the ClinicalKey, all this information that we were sharing. We have them in our Resource Center of Portugal. I have the link in here that I am going to share it also in the chat, but I am going to show you how to access directly from ClinicalKey. If you don't have the link, don't worry, because we can go directly from ClinicalKey. First, you need to go to ClinicalKey, go down and click on Resource Center. From Resource Center, you will have the Research Center of Portugal. And from here, you will have all the program of update that we are having right now. If you want to register in all the sessions, you can do it from here. And from here, also, we are going to put the videos. I hope that we can do this before the ending of this week. And from here will appear the links to the sessions that I did today and the sessions that I am going to do next week. You are still having time to register to the following sessions that we are going to have next week. So from the links that we have from here, we have also power sessions, clinical cases, and some other sessions that we already did for Portugal users. And of course, all the resources that we have in this resource center. If this is your first time in ClinicalKey and you don't have a user, we have some guidelines in here explaining how to create a user. Also, these little videos with the different tools inside a ClinicalKey that can help you in your daily basis. Well, if you don't have any other question, I want to ask help for something that I am doing, and this is a survey that I am doing for all these sessions for Portugal. It's an anonymous survey. It's only 5 questions, and it can help me for developing the next series of ClinicalKey, the next online series of ClinicalKey. So if you can help doing this, you can capture the QR, or with the link, you are going to go to this survey of ClinicalKey. Okay. So in the case that you don't have any other question, of course, I want to say obrigada. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias for coming to this session. I hope it will help you in your daily use of ClinicalKey, or if you are doing a thesis or a research, it will help you with this. So have a good afternoon. Obrigada, and see you next week on the last sessions that we are going to have. Have a nice afternoon.